afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, welcome to the internet's most sophisticated wrestling podcast, discussing the weekly aspects of it all, right here on
The Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bald Monkeys Wrestling Podcast. You may have noticed that the intro was a little different. Heard a stranger's voice on it. And we have that stranger, not quite a stranger, one of the Bald Monkeys here. It is Captain Chuckles. His name is Chuck. I call him Captain Chuckles. Captain Chuckles, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, fellas. The captain is here. Thank you very much for having me on.
Happy for you to be here, but we got to put you on the spot, man. We make our guests, make the new people, we make them bitch and complain about something in wrestling, or you can talk about something you like in wrestling too. Take your pick. What do you want to talk about, Chuck?
I would say two things. On the boo end of it would be Brock Lesnar, and on the yay end of it, I would say would be the 24/7 championship.
Yes, you mean the hardcore title?
Not quite. Hardcore, the defend anywhere, anytime, the I could be in my shower title. And all of a sudden a ref comes in. You know, who knows?
Yeah. You know what was fun about the 24/7 title was when Foley's out there and he starts talking about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the crowd is getting so pumped. They're like, oh my God, it's the hardcore title. Oh my God, it's the hardcore title. And they pull that belt out, and I think collectively every wrestling fan went, It ended up being a good thing.
But that promo, man, it fell so flat. Like the crowd was legitimately just booing. Like it was such a flat promo. I felt bad for him because Foley doesn't usually have terrible promos like that, but that was a really bad promo on his part. And he even admitted that too on social media, that he was like, I didn't come strong enough with that promo. Then I could have did better. And I don't know. The crowd started to get into it later on in the night, though. It seemed as the debauchery was going on with the 24/7 title, people started is a good word. we're starting to get into it. But let's talk about whoever's designing these titles needs to be fired.
It's absolutely terrible. It looked like they took it out of a 1950s jukebox. It was horrible.
Whoever designed that 24/7 title, they were also the same person who designed the very first Firefly Funhouse shirt.
Oh, geez. That was such a throwaway shirt. Let's just take the logo and blast it as a rectangle on a shirt. Though the new one looks awesome.
I developed a better title last night playing WWE 2K19. I mean, geez. I mean, what it was garbage.
That would have been cool if they did something like that, where they actually let let fans put title designs up. Here, you design the next title, and I think they would have did a better job if they let video game players and fans just design a title and send it in for the 24/7 title instead of the Waffle House title that we got.
Absolutely, it's like a 5-year-old did it, and I know 5-year-olds who could probably do a better job.
What are you doing hanging out with 5-year-olds, man?
Hey, listen, there are some kids on the street that when I walk my dog by, and they always say hi, and they show me their WWE wrestling designs.
Whoa,
get over it.
Okay.
There's some questions you just don't ask, Chris.
Apparently.
Creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. Very. There's the boss.
But we can say, overall, it first started, and I think I had messaged at some point, this is going to work. This is going to work. And it's perfect because one of the things that the show suffered from was segment to segment and having really weak promos. Well, it's really easy to do a good segment in between matches when you have all this chaos going on. So who is our inaugural 24/7 champion? It's Titus O'Neil, correct?
Yeah, Titus O'Neil was the first one
Yep.
off the scrum, which I didn't love the scrum. I thought that was a little bit. They should have put it up like on top of a ladder or something. Like make him climb the ladder to get to it. Just laying it in the middle of the ring was kind of like, okay, just pick the damn thing up. Someone pick the damn thing up.
It's like people's
No,
hands
they-
forget how to work.
They should have had to have fought Mick Foley to get the title from him, but he was
Okay.
looking a little bit beat up in the ring.
Oh, he
Well-
was out of. I don't know. He was not at his best. Period. That was just not good, Mick Foley.
Also, fun fact about Mick Foley. I made a big mistake today. This is random Big Baby Jimmy personal life stuff, and I forgot to lock my dog up. So I get home and I'm like, oh no, where's my dog at? Luckily for me, he didn't destroy anything except for a piece of paper for a wrestling event, and he had torn Mick Foley's face in half. True story. True story.
Wow. Chance does not like Mick Foley.
There you go. He doesn't want to give him a chance. Oh,
Oh.
But
boo. Boo. Yeah, but the segments, they were very successful, and even the stuff on SmackDown was fun. R-Truth trying to hide as a woman, basically. I mean, it was cheap
With
humor,
the
but
belt
it was
around his
working.
waist.
I know it was cheap humor, but it was working. It was working for me at least. I really enjoy the 24/7 title, and it's nice that they added something for I guess the low card guys to do in the meantime.
Well, let's talk about adding titles though, because Nikamura is not with us today, but he brought up a good point in the chat. Is this too many? Is there too many titles on the shows right now? Because if you put, I think what was the number 10 now? Is there 10 titles? So there's the 24/7 title, there's the 2 championship
it's 11.
titles. Is it 11?
I don't know that it's too many titles. I think that we were always talking about them having more titles. I mean, how many times did we talk about them having more titles? More.
We brought it up a lot. We brought up
We
another
did.
mid-card title.
Yeah, another mid card title on each show. So this is
Right.
basically taking care of that only with the combination of the shows.
But it just seems like, well, first of all, the tag titles we're not consistently getting the tag titles even present on the shows. Was the Raw tag titles even on the show this week? No, right? So
No, I don't think so.
And then as far as SmackDown goes, I think they were there was a dark match maybe. I don't even think they were on the show either. I think, did no tag titles actually get defended this week or even like show up on TV?
They were at the pre-show for Money in the Bank.
Yeah, they were the pre-show, and they had the Raw Usos fight the SmackDown champions and changed the stipulation at some point to not being any sort of championship match. So a
Yeah, that was weird.
non-title match on a pay-per-view.
But it was
It was a
a
pre-show.
pre-show match, so that's
I
probably
don't know.
why.
I know, but the pre-show to me is still the pay-per-view. Like the pre-show is supposed to get buyers, right? It's supposed to get more people to actually buy the event. Oh, here's a really good match to get you to actually keep watching. You're going to stay interested. So, and they're usually pretty good because they usually put the tag teams there and they do a great job. But for it to be a non-title match it's almost, I don't know. Again, I go to this every week with the tag titles. I feel like all the tag titles right now are suffering. And
Well, I feel there's so many like tag teams, but you always see the same 4 all the time. Like every week whenever they come out or at every pay-per-view, it's always the same ones. It's almost like they should get rid of one set of them and just have one tag team title.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that was something I was going to bring up this week after Nick posed that. The tag titles being combined, I think could make the most sense because you're not utilizing all the tag teams like Chuck's saying anyway. So why not just have one tag title that can go from show to show? It promotes both shows. You can get more tag teams on the shows because it doesn't matter if they're fighting for the tag championship or not. They could just be trying to push themselves to be number one contenders for the title that's everywhere. But I don't know. I feel like it's the same idea with the women's title, but they're failing miserably with that women's title that was supposed to be defended everywhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like they even said, oh, maybe we'll defend it at NXT. And yeah, we've never seen that happen before. So I don't know what they're talking about.
They don't defend it on the regular show. Well, they're gonna defend it on NXT. Where are the Iconics?
I
Where were
agree.
they?
Just like where's Hawkins and Ryder? It's like they're
Yep.
taking both of
Yep.
those tag teams and they're just not doing anything with them. They just have them in these like weird back segments. I mean, the Iconics at least this week had a little bit more than Hawkins and Ryder. Hawkins and Ryder, what you saw them say hello to Mick Foley and that was it? I think.
Yeah, that was their spot. Yep.
You're the tag team champions. Here you go. Go talk to Mick Foley. We'll give you 30 seconds.
It's almost like they've turned what was probably one of the best titles to have, back 10, 15, 20 years ago to like a second rate set of titles.
Well, we had got it back to pretty high standards when the Usos and the New Day were battling it out. And I'll even throw the Bar in there. And there was a couple other lower level tag teams that were having some decent matches with the Usos and New Day. But that feud that they had really, elevated the tag titles. But yeah, after they basically said, okay, we're not going to have them feud anymore, what have the tag titles been? They've been kind of irrelevant. And it sucks because, you have so many good ideas and history with those tag titles, and we're going nowhere with it right now.
I mean, until you push some of the other ones through. I mean, it was a quiet week for the Viking Raiders. So that's a tag team that has
My
some
homies.
potential.
My
Yeah.
homies.
If you guys want to know what Chuck looks like, just watch the Viking Raiders or watch Eric Rowan, and that's Chuck.
Yeah. Or the Viking Experience.
Oh, yeah, the Viking
or the War
Experience, yeah.
Raiders. Yeah.
Or War Machine, yeah.
Yeah. Any one of those names. Just watch all those things.
So how about Chuck's boo? How about some Brock Lesnar action?
Oh man, I said this to Chris earlier. Brock Lesnar used to be one of my favorite wrestlers, and now I just want to kick him in the balls every time he comes on TV. Like, I'm sorry, like I just can't take him in.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with it is they didn't decide that until like right before the match started.
Yeah.
I really think they needed him to save something.
I mean, that was a great match. They did a great job.
Ali was supposed to win, apparently.
You guys are ready for an unpopular opinion?
Liked it.
I thought it was a good.
Of course.
I thought it was a good spot. I mean, I thought it was like.
Boo.
I mean,
No, thank you.
and now was it totally surprising for me? No, because I was guessing people, and he was like maybe the second person I guessed. Like, okay, so no Sami Zayn. I think I guessed. Would they put Lars there? I'm like, oh, Brock Lesnar. I don't know. I thought the segment worked for the way that they were playing it. Do I like that it happened? No. I like him winning about as much as I would have liked Randy Orton winning. He doesn't need it. It's unnecessary.
I'd take Randy Orton. I'd take Orton over Brock.
I don't know. I would have taken Dolph Ziggler after what happened yesterday. I'm sorry, on Tuesday. Like,
Yeah, Tuesday.
Dolph Ziggler. I loved Dolph Ziggler. So I was very pumped to see him on Tuesday. And the promo
What
he
I don't
cut
like
at the
is
top.
basically Brock won the briefcase just so he can have a match against Seth Rollins in Saudi Arabia because they want to bill it like it's WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the pay-per-view that's going to be equivalent or better than WrestleMania?
Yeah. We'll see about that.
I love it when WWE tries to pound something into your brain so many times until you believe it. But that one's just so awkward to me. Superstar Showdown will be equivalent or better than WrestleMania 35. Shut up.
Well, I mean, we
You've
really
got
didn't
Goldberg
love
versus.
WrestleMania.
You've got Goldberg. Well, no. Actually, WrestleMania was okay, but you've got Goldberg versus Undertaker. Last time I checked, I can go see wrestling matches like that, like anywhere in the country. Like, oh, you're talking about really, really old guys who shouldn't be wrestling each other. That's like every wrestling show across the country. That's not like mainstream.
But you're getting Kofi versus Dolph.
But at the same time, I mean. Okay, but I'm arguing the point of like the equivalent or better than WrestleMania,
Gotcha.
right?
No, I agree.
I mean-
You're arguing the point of it's like Michael Cole trying to get, whatever he says over and over and over again. Like Kofi, that was the greatest moment in WrestleMania history, over and over and over again. They've been doing this a lot lately where they're trying to just jam it down our throats, and like they think if they say it enough times, like we're going to be forced to believe it. It doesn't work that way.
It does not.
Well,
work that
we
way.
are all sheep. I mean, come on, Chris.
I am not a sheep.
Bah.
I do not follow Brock. That was such a good ladder match, and those guys put their bodies on the line, and the amount of bumps that Finn Balor, Ali,
Oh,
and
Finn and
Andrade
Ali were amazing in that match. Amazing.
that power bomb he took, the way he bounced off of that ladder from Andrade, that was incredible. And then also he like died at one point from McIntyre, like throwing him on the side of a ladder.
Oh yeah.
There were so many good spots. I don't know that it was better than the NXT ladder match for the
No way.
North American title, but I mean, they definitely did a great job, and it was definitely entertaining. It just really, what did I think I said in my text message, as good as everything was, that last image just kind of was ruining everything.
I agree. And that just like you said, Chris, that bump that Balor took on the hard edge of the ladder, I mean, I think I almost like fell over just realizing how hard that's got to be to hit that at that like momentum and everything. It's ridiculous that he even got up and walked out of there is ridiculous.
There were a couple people that I thought were dead in all of those ladder matches. I thought Natalya was dead when she took the eclipse from off of the ladder or whatever when Ember Moon came off the ladder. I was like, oh my god, she's dead. She rolled out. I don't think I saw her for the rest of the match. I was like, Natty's dead. Yeah, they're gonna cover it up.
The women did a good job. That was an entertaining
weird match.
Ladder match. It was interesting how they did the little work with Carmella that got you pretty good.
I was so sold on that work. I was like, whoa, she's injured. Because she landed on her leg awkward, and then she played it so well. I was like, whoa, she is like injured. Because the last person I saw take a bump like that, and I saw their leg do that, was Big Cass when he legitimately was injured.
Yeah, thankfully he's no longer wrestling with anybody right now.
You think that's why they had Carmella do that, to take a shot at Big Cass because of their history?
Oh,
gosh, that seems like a big stretch, but maybe.
Yeah,
You know
let's just
how
say
petty
yes.
the WWE is.
Let's just say yes because I love that idea.
There you go.
You would.
I would. Hey, how about Dana Brooke like scaring the crap out of me, hanging from the briefcase, and me yelling, "Don't die! Don't die! Don't die! Don't die!"
I think that I got to give props to Dana Brooke for as much hate as we throw sometimes on this podcast at her. Man, she did pretty damn good. She did well for herself. And I loved her. I loved her ramp walk down when she does the crazy like gymnast kind of flippy thing. That's pretty nifty.
I don't think I've heard the word nifty in a long time.
Nifty. We had a jukebox earlier, and now we got nifty. Yeah,
By the way, I love calling the 24/7 title the Waffle House title. It is forever called the Waffle House title.
Totally, man.
I prefer when R-Truth calls it the European title.
The new European champion.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That whole that little skit with him hiding Robert Roode. I mean, that's just good stuff. That's the types of skits that they need to be doing between everything. Now I wonder how much they're going to steal from the old hardcore title, because you remember like the old hardcore title where it's like, oh look, the champion fell asleep and you like sneak in there and you barely cover them. 1, 2.
I want them to
3.
do a match in a ball pit so bad.
Match in a ball pit.
Crash Holly did that.
What's the over under?
Champion.
How many weeks? What's the over under? How many weeks before someone gets pinned in their sleep?
Oh man, I think it will happen within the next 4 shows, or 4 sets of shows rather.
So 4 weeks. So Jimmy's got 4, Steve has got 6. I'm gonna split it and take 5.
Wow.
I'm gonna say 10 or more.
Way out.
Do you guys think that they're gonna do spots of it in between when the shows aren't taping? You know, like put something on WWE.com on a Friday from something that happened or whatever. I think that would be a cool thing to kind of add to what they do during the shows for that title.
I feel like they have to.
I think that's a good idea, and they should.
I think it came out that that social media is actually going to be a place where it also can change hands. So, but that might be like Facebook Live, or something like they might be doing an interview with the 24/7 champion on Facebook Live, and he drops the title. But it sounds like they're going to venture into that a little bit. But I hope they go all in, because it'll be interesting.
They kind of have to almost go all in on something like that. I mean, it's the Jukebox Waffle House title, and you got to do something to keep people in it. And even though it's fun to see on the shows in between here and there, people running around trying to find somebody or whatever, but to keep everybody into it, you got to keep them entertained all throughout, not even when the shows are there, especially for something like this that's 24/7. I mean, come on, it's right in the name.
Especially since they've been using this wild card rule to actually cancel a lot of the SmackDown house shows. So it's like you need to keep people more engaged, because you're probably pissing some people off right now with this whole wild card thing. Like, they've canceled the last 2 weeks of SmackDown house shows because of the wild card rule, because they basically need these people available to be on Raw instead of being at the house show. And I'd be pretty pissed off if I, had tickets to a house show, which, I was excited for, or bringing my kid to, and then all of a sudden they cancel it just because they want to show 3 or 4 wrestlers on TV. The wild card rule is dumb, and they need to just eliminate it. But I know what it's there for. It's there because we're coming up on Fox, and they want to use their star power as much as possible.
But if that's what they're trying to do, and I think you guys said this in a couple of weeks ago, but why not get rid of the whole brand split thing then? I mean, at that point, if they really want to impress Fox and everything, just get rid of the brand split and have everybody go on all the shows. I mean, I feel like sometimes that's the best.
I think it's just a matter of time at this point.
How much time do we have before Fox goes live?
It's in October.
5 months.
5 months. They got 5 months to kind of structure this. If there's going to be a shakeup, if they're going to combine some titles, if they're going to combine the shows or rosters. A lot can happen in 5 months.
They also have to salvage the damn show, because we've talked for many weeks about how weak it has been. Now, luckily, Money in the Bank was pretty strong. Both the Raw and SmackDown were pretty good as well. So it was a good week, counting Sunday as well. It was a good week of wrestling.
Yeah. Money in the Bank really was entertaining, and I really enjoyed how well I feel like the women's match went, and then how well they were able to get Bayley over that night, because Bayley's kind of been floundering. She was, as soon as she came up from NXT, she was a fan favorite. Everybody loved her. She won the title. Bliss had a feud with her. She kind of lost her character a little bit and got crushed a little bit by Bliss, because Bliss is such a big character. And then, I don't know that Bailey ever recovered from that. And then she got into this tag division with Sasha, and it started to look like she was getting a little edge to her, which was great. But then Sasha obviously has gone away now, and Bailey was on her own again, and it was like, oh, what is she's just gonna flounder again? But they somehow made everyone care about her again, and everyone get behind her. And then when she ran through the crowd and was holding all the signs up, man, that was a great pop. Like, everyone was into that, and all of a sudden Bailey's back on top again, which I was really surprised that they were able to do that in one night.
I think that I think the way that they ended up writing it with that Charlotte match was the only way you could have made Bailey get over. I mean, you used
The way
the hate
you
for
decided
Charlotte.
it was going to happen. You predicted that, man. You called
That was
one.
after the Lacey Evans promo, because after the Lacey Evans promo, before the pay-per-view even started, she makes a comment about, her match being first, which of course my initial thought was, shit, I've got to take a point off of my match pick total because of this. And
Amazing feeling, by the way.
but for that, I would have tied for the most correct picks with Nakamura. But sadly, that didn't happen. Now I did.
I didn't call both cash-ins, but I did call one.
And you call which one did you call? You called the wrong one.
Called Bailey cashing in on the
And
Charlotte.
you called her cashing in on Becky.
The match. Did I say who she was going to pin?
You say Becky wins and then a cash in. That implies she cashes in on Becky and pins Becky.
Well, I mean, she still cashed in on that match.
You don't get any points for that?
Just wasn't trying to get points. You were the
I
one
don't
saying it
know.
was impossible. It was a crazy idea for everybody to cash in.
Oh, I was saying 50 cash-ins sounded crazy. The 50 cash-ins that you picked.
I don't know what you're talking about. You were basically just talking to yourself last week.
That's true,
yeah,
yeah.
this
You
is
can
this
check the
is
beautiful
this is
bean footage
accurate.
on that one.
Yeah, everybody can just go back and say that they didn't say anything, and I'm just a crazy person talking to myself and convincing myself out of things. I still think that the scenarios that we talked about, and for those of you that listened, I'm sure it was very disjointed and it didn't make any sense. But one of those storylines in particular that we were talking about was Sami Zayn winning, and Sami Zayn like teasing a cash in and then holding the crowd hostage or something like that. Man, that really was the right story for them to do, and they didn't do it.
Well, no, we got to get Brock over again. We got to bring him back on the show again to do the same things that we've always done again with Brock.
It's all for Saudi Arabia, man. Come on, they've been
about-
paying
how about
WWE a lot of money.
How about that frustrating moment like we always have in a ladder match when Ali is at the top of the ladder and all he has to do is take the briefcase. He's literally holding the briefcase and all he has to
He's
do
right
is
there.
unhook it. But
He's right
because
there, yeah.
because
No,
the
Chris.
music hits, he has to
No,
freeze.
Chris. No, Chris, you're wrong. That's not the most
Oh.
annoying part of a ladder match. Universally, the most annoying part of the ladder match is nobody's ready for the next setup, and the ladder's already in place, so I'm going to grab the ladder and do a quarter turn with it and then line it up again, even though it's already lined up. That is the most annoying spot in a ladder match, because every single one of them does it. Because it's like, okay, next spot, they're not ready, so I'll adjust the ladder, and I'll give them some time before I start climbing. It's like, come on, give me a break.
No way. It's the slow walk up, and I'm gonna look at the title. I'm gonna look at whatever's up there every 2 seconds. Wait, is it still there? Okay, hold on. I can go up 2 more. Is it still there? Okay, I can go up 2 more. Oh wait, hold on. Oh no, it's still there.
I think what we're saying is we love ladder matches.
Love him.
I
love
really
ladder
do. I
matches.
really do too.
Yeah.
But it's always just funny to me, and it's like even more ridiculous with the women than it is with the men. Like half the time when they're pulling the really big ladders that they need to get the title, I'm like, they're gonna drop it, like because you see them like almost losing their balance. That
But
ladder's too
hey,
heavy.
how good was that spot at the end of the women's ladder match with Mandy Rose being carried up by DeVille, getting to the top of that ladder, and then Bailey running up and just stopping and staring at them, like just
It was
that
fun.
one moment. That was a great spot. That was well done.
It was a great spot.
Well, I was talking on the phone with Chris the other day, and we were talking about that match and how
You were
everybody picked
talking.
Bailey.
I wasn't
Everybody.
talking.
Oh, okay. So everybody picked Bailey in our little texting group or whatever, but I picked Mandy Rose, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I feel good about the fact that it came down to those two storylines. Like, those were the two at the top of the ladder. I
Three
had to,
storyline.
I had to pick. What was the third
Deville.
storyline?
Deville was there too.
Well, yeah, but that's not. It wasn't a story. I mean, they are a singular storyline.
Right, but would it be impossible for Deville to take that briefcase and say that she's the winner?
She's not in the match.
It doesn't. Neither was Brock Lesnar.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
So,
but you
three
know what?
storylines.
But if that's the case, then I feel cheated because I really, really, really wanted Ellsworth to be the first women's Money in the Bank champion.
Oh, that was the best written storyline. Yes. When Ellsworth went and grabbed that briefcase, I was super excited because I was like, yes, he's going to call himself the champion. Yes, he's going to hold the briefcase and he's going to try to cash it in. And then he just drops it to Carmella. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Boo.
Like, yeah, it just wasn't like they almost had like they were on the cusp of a really great storyline. And then they just said, no, we're just going to annoy the crap out of everyone.
I think Nakamura was wanting to choose Alexa Bliss because I'm assuming he was thinking the Nikki Cross wins the briefcase and then gifts it to Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, they're definitely playing off a little bit like a old school Trish Stratus, Mickey James like obsession thing with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss right now. I think it'll work really well with the two of them too.
But it'll never be like it was.
Do we I'm assuming we like the placement of the women's ladder match just because of when it took place to when the women's titles were. But do you think that the men's match could have been earlier if they didn't make the choice of having Brock in there? Like, do we like the placement of where that was, or do you think the storyline depicted where that was going to go at that point?
It's the story. It's Brock because they wanted Brock to. It was the shock of Brock Lesnar coming out and not being around for a while and winning. So you have to place that at the end. If you place that anywhere else, you don't get as much shock factor because he's not going to come out and cash in on anybody unless you were going to have him cash in. Like if you put Rollins and Styles at the end and you had Brock try to cash in on them after he had won, maybe it would be the same amount of shock. But I think they put it in the right spot for how annoyed we were that it was Brock Lesnar that came out. Yes, that's what they want. It's a pop. It's still a pop. We're annoyed, but it's still a pop. And that's the right spot for it.
His music hit and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Come on.
Yeah, but you knew it wasn't. Well, you knew Ali wasn't about to win. Like you knew something was about to happen because the way Ali was doing the slow climb and the slow reach up, and no one else was the bottom of the ladder.
Every 2 seconds, you got to make sure it's still there. It might go away.
Well, the question was, what's about to happen? Well, who's coming out? Who's about to be the 8th person? Because here they come.
Well, it always comes back to character when you look at somebody like Ali. I mean, the reason Ali didn't win is the same reason that Finn Balor didn't win, is the same reason that Ember Moon didn't win. There are some of those characters that you want them to feel a little bit more underdog, and an underdog doesn't use a briefcase. In the case of Bayley, they did it the only way it would have worked, is having Charlotte Flair win. She had to win for that to work. Because unless you're going to turn her heel, and even though I've, wanted the rise of Cutter Bayley for a long time, I don't think that it would have. Hey, don't hate on Cutter Bayley. It's still, I don't know. You guys have argued that you didn't think it would work, and the safer bet is that maybe it wouldn't work. So you keep her a face. So what do? You make everybody hate Charlotte Flair, and then everybody love Bayley for defeating Charlotte Flair.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only way it worked was not only did Charlotte Flair win, but they started beating up on Becky, and everyone loves Becky.
Everybody started chanting, "We want Bayley."
Yes, and she
Yeah.
comes out and she saves the day. But you still weren't even sure if she was going to cash in at that point until Charlotte hit the turnbuckle in the corner, and that's when they got the crowd going really crazy at that point. So it was a good setup. It was, I mean, again, like I'm very impressed with how over they got her in basically 2 matches and getting her out there and getting her over. Now it's a question of, is she going to stay over on SmackDown? Is Charlotte able? And this is no knock on Bayley, but is Charlotte able to keep Bayley as that top face on SmackDown? And it's going to be up to Charlotte because she's obviously the top heel and she's going to be able to push her and get the crowd on her side. So
I
we'll see.
think she's one of the better, if not the best, women's wrestlers in WWE. So I think she can do it.
See, this is where we disagree.
It's not Becky.
I think she's athletic, but I don't. After seeing a bunch of her matches, I don't know if she's the best wrestler.
Well, then who is it?
Like,
it's not Becky.
the best.
I know that for a fact.
No,
You just
it's
don't
not.
like Becky.
You know what? I don't like Becky anymore. She's had her run, and they've ruined her character over and over and over again. So why should I like her?
Because she's the man. Duh.
Just
That's
'cause-
the sound argument.
Just because there are shirts that say she's the man. Okay.
Bunch of Becky 2-belt shirts that are now going to be on discount.
Love it. Love it. We were talking about that. We were like, this is stupid.
Yep.
She's not going to have
Yep.
it for that long. WWE trying to
But-
get a buck.
Hey, so as far as wrestling goes, you can't deny how good of a wrestler Sasha Banks is. She takes good bumps. She generally, works really well with just about everybody. I would say Sasha's probably a better wrestler than Charlotte, and they've had a lot of great matches together, so they obviously excelled together. It's just I've seen Charlotte's had some bad spots with a lot of wrestlers. Even the Becky match at Money in the Bank, there was a really bad phantom high leg kick boot, whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah,
There
it
was some
bad.
drop kick that they had a
Yeah.
bit weird angle on, and she just totally missed. And what was weird was the camera angle that we were looking at as the fans watching the pay-per-view. It was like it looked like she missed, but we weren't sure. But then Michael Cole was like, "Oh, she didn't quite get all of that." It was
Glancing blow. It's a glancing blow.
Yeah, it was like, if you never said that, I would have just been like, it kind of looked like she missed that. Which was funny. Let's talk about one of your favorite wrestlers, Billie Kay. I was laughing hysterically about this the other day because she's in the ring and she's like in the very middle of the ring, and Becky's getting ready to do like that same drop kick, and she is screaming at Billie Kay, "Come closer! Come close!" Like, hey, Becky, we can hear everything that you're saying. It was,
Well, she's taunting. It was a taunt. It's okay. It was a
Yeah,
taunt. She's
believe
taunting
me.
her to come closer, which
Yeah.
is really, get your butt over here, you idiot. You're too far away for me to drop kick you.
Absolutely.
She can't wrestle, man. But my major point is, as good as Charlotte is as a character, and she's a great character, she's a great heel, start really paying attention to some of her matches and see just how fluid or not how fluid better off these matches are looking with her. Ember is another great wrestler. She's had some good matches. There's a lot of other Asuka's great.
She's
There's
really
a lot of good wrestlers out there that I think are better than Charlotte in the ring. Charlotte just is athletic and can do some really big moves, and she's got great mic skills. She knows how to get the crowd riled up. She's just like her dad was.
I don't even know. Gosh, I mean, you're talking about that like there are a bunch of these women that are over right now, like the main ones they're pushing, and I feel like they're middle of the pack in regards to how good they are as wrestlers compared to some of the other ones.
Who's middle?
Like,
Who?
like
Who's
meaning
middle of
like
the pack as
Bailey.
far as-
Like I think Bailey's middle of the pack as a wrestler. She's okay. But she's not great.
Who's your top? Who's your top? So we said
I
Charlotte,
almost don't want to
Asuka,
count
Sasha.
Sasha Banks until I see her again. You know what I mean? So that leaves like
Doesn't mean she
Asuka.
can't wrestle.
Well, no.
Just because you don't see her doesn't mean she can't wrestle.
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, is she even going to be part of WWE anymore. So is she still an active wrestler? I mean, I don't know. But
But
yeah,
that doesn't
she's
change
the
that she
best.
can
She's
wrestle.
the best. She's the best. She's the best wrestler. And most of that comes from bumps. It's like the ones that
Boss.
can
She's the
take
boss.
the ones that can take really good bumps and then have wrestling skill on top of that, those are the clear winners, right? That's why Asuka's fun to watch, Ember Moon's fun to watch. Not as good on the offensive wrestling side, but Liv Morgan's always fun to watch because of the bumps she takes.
Yeah, she takes good bumps, but she's not exactly offensively very good. Which where the hell is Liv Morgan? Has she been on TV since the split?
I don't think so. There was actually a person with her sign, like a sign that said her name out in the crowd, I think during SmackDown. And I was thinking, yeah, where the hell is Liv Morgan?
We lose the Riot Squad. Ruby Riot just recently had surgery, so she's out now. Liv Morgan's nowhere to be found. Where does that leave Sarah Logan?
Married
a
to
lot
a
of
Viking?
stuff is saying she might be joining the Vikings. Yeah.
As like a valet?
As a
I guess
woman
so.
that's part of that clique. It's
I
not the
don't know,
worst
man.
thing in the world. The women,
It doesn't work.
they need
It
that.
doesn't work on the main roster.
How does
I
it not
mean,
work
look
on
at-
the main roster?
Sanity.
They never even tried Sanity. So how can you say it didn't work?
Because it didn't get used on the main roster because it wouldn't work.
What? How do we know it wouldn't work if we didn't try it?
Does Nikki Cross intimidate you at any point in time? You
No,
said this
but
already.
my
how,
argument
small and
was
tiny she is.
yeah, but my argument, if you remember, my argument about Nikki Cross was she only works in Sanity, and that
hard
if they need to use Sanity, but they just never did.
It's hard to remember these arguments you have with yourself. I mean, I have to sometimes
Oh
go
my
back and
gosh.
listen to you talking to yourself, and then maybe I can remember the argument.
Yeah,
but...
this is good. This is good. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Keep it up.
So, what else happened at Money in the Bank that was of any interest whatsoever?
AJ
Not
Styles
the,
versus Seth Rollins was a very good
that was
match.
that was a good match, which we expected, right? We
Yes.
didn't expect any different. That was going to be a great match, and they put on a great match. I don't know if the handshake at the end was necessary. I don't know what it does for the storyline going forward because obviously now we're back into Brock territory, but it was entertaining, and obviously those two guys are probably number 1 and 1B as far as best wrestlers right now.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a couple haymakers after the handshake. Like the handshake happens, and then immediately AJ Styles just starts beating on him or something like that. But the problem is Brock. Again, Brock is the root of the problem because now we suddenly have to change everything we're doing for Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. And how non-compelling is having Brock Lesnar beat Seth Rollins at this point? It's
So
not.
what are you going to do? Have him beat him at Saudi Arabia?
Well, I mean, I think if he cashes in at Saudi Arabia and that's how they run it, then I'm assuming that Brock Lesnar's going to win, and then they'll have a rematch at SummerSlam.
It's just I don't get it.
There's nothing
Like,
to
why?
get. It's bad story writing. Using Brock is always bad story writing. It just always has been. I mean,
Is he
They're-
that much of a pull over there? Like, is Brock that much of a pull over there?
they already ruined the perfect cash in my opinion. The perfect cash in would have been Monday Night Raw starts, and first thing you see Seth Rollins fly out of the entranceway and slam into the wall, and out comes Brock Lesnar, and he's just beating the piss out of him straight up. He beats him all the way down to the ring. He cashes in right away. No words, no promos. He just cashes in on him, beats the shit out of him, and it's over. And you do that in the first 5 minutes of Monday Night Raw, and then just get it over with. Elongating it, it's like he ain't cashing in on Kofi. I think that would be more interesting, but it's not going to happen.
But wouldn't that be better for Fox going forward, possibly, for him to cash it in on?
Maybe, but you've got 5 months. You got a lot of time.
And Brock could, cash in, win the title, and not wrestle for 5 months. So that'll be perfect.
So after Saudi Arabia, we probably won't see him for 5 months anyway, whether he wins or loses.
Why wouldn't we see him at SummerSlam?
He only shows up when he wants to show up.
His contract's probably like what? How many actual appearances does he have to make in a year? I feel like his contract's like 12.
He probably has to go to
11 or 12, yeah.
every major pay-per-view, right? So he has to go. He'll be at SummerSlam. He'll be at Survivor Series. Now, will he be anywhere else? Who knows?
Was he? So did Brock have a match at Rumble? I'm trying to go back and see how many appearances Brock actually had so far this year. Did he fight at the Rumble?
I don't think so.
I don't think he did. No.
So, and he didn't obviously fight at whatever the hell what was the pay-per-view?
He didn't fight at anything until I don't think he fought in anything until WrestleMania, right?
So WrestleMania, that's one.
That's one.
And then
Money in the Bank.
Technically Money in the Bank. 2. And then he showed up on Raw.
Are you counting appearances or matches?
Well, 2 matches, 3 appearances. But I guess you can't. I'm not going to go back and figure out all the appearances.
Well,
but
he had some appearances before WrestleMania because he attacked Seth a few times.
Yeah. But still, it's ridiculous how his contract works. He basically just shows up whenever he feels like it, and it's not that many times.
Let's try to be optimistic, okay? We're going to play a little game. So if we think that this is the worst storyline going on in WWE right now, and I'm going to pass this to Chuck first since Chuck absolutely hates Brock Lesnar. So, Chuck, we're going to say that he is going to cash in and eventually win the title. How do you fix that storyline? How do you make that storyline compelling?
Oh man, I don't even know if you can. I mean, like the fair weather, wrestling fans out there, I feel like are just like, oh yeah, Brock Lesnar, I know that guy's name. Oh yeah, he, blah blah blah. But then I think like all the other ones are kind of like, I'm kind of over this whole Brock Lesnar thing, and like that's where I am with it. How do you? I don't think you're ever going to get rid of him. Like, unfortunately, he's like a cockroach. He's like the WWE cockroach. He only comes out when the lights are off, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm here. Okay, I'm gone again. But I don't know if I don't know how you remedy his situation other than WWE coming to terms with the fact that he is over and done with, and let's just move on.
Chris, how do you salvage the story?
It's just the fact that, to Chuck's point, when are they going to realize they don't need him? There's so many talented guys on this roster, and we're bringing Brock Lesnar out. And if you're gonna get rid of Brock Lesnar, the only way to really fix it is to bring one of these talented guys out to run him off. And there's been one guy barking on social media that he's going to retire Brock Lesnar. And if Lesnar comes out, cashes in, and wins that title, I would love, and I know it'd be a big jump, but I would love to see Riddle pop up, come out there and drop him or make him tap, and then we never see Brock Lesnar again. It would get Riddle over so fast, and it would get rid of Brock in 2 seconds, and I would dig it, and I'd be all for the bro.
So that's how you fix it.
If they try to work Riddle into the angle of Brock, it would be Riddle like winning the Rumble and facing Brock at Mania.
How do you?
That's a long ways away, man.
How about
it is a long ways away. Even if Brock doesn't win the belt, say he wins the Rumble and he opts out of his title match to retire Brock.
What if Riddle challenges Brock for the Money in the Bank briefcase?
See?
What if he says, I could beat you, and if I beat you, I get your Money in the Bank contract. And now
Saudi Arabia, because he can't seem to get his attention, do the whole "do I have your attention now" angle.
Yeah,
could work. I would rather see. I want Brock. I don't know that I care who he faces, but have him go into a no DQ match, and when it's finally time to put him to pasture, and WWE's decided, okay, we don't need him anymore, have the whole locker room come out and beat the hell out of him in the DQ
Love it.
match and a no DQ
Love it.
match. The whole locker room just beats the hell out of him. And then the person he's facing doesn't even have to do anything, just goes over and pins him and gets the belt for free.
Well, you know it'll be Roman Reigns, and he'll have to Superman punch him one good time before he pins him.
Oh, Superman punch.
I don't have an issue
Vintage
with it.
Roman.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it
The
being
big
Roman Reigns.
dog.
I don't have an issue with it being anybody. But, at this point, I have to remove myself, especially doing this podcast every week. I think we were talking about this, Chris. I have to try to remove myself from these things. Like, I'll bitch and complain about them, but we can't do anything about them. So how do you fix them? How do you make a good spot out of a bad situation? And so I think that's one way to make a good spot out of a bad situation. They're always talking about, everybody back there doesn't have any respect for you. Only show up when you want to. So have everybody in the back beat the hell out of them. Hell, even get the women out there. Have everybody beating the hell out of them.
You're gonna keep grasping at this, but they're not gonna have these intergender matches anytime soon.
Well, I'm not worried about it either. It's never gonna happen, and that's fine.
They tease a little bit of interaction every once in a while, but yeah, you're not gonna. I don't know. There is this 24/7 title now, and they never really said who can or can't.
I really thought Carmella was going to take it. I thought Carmella was going to take it off of R-Truth.
There's still a chance that she does that. Like, there's nothing that says they can't win it, right?
Nia Jax will win it.
Truth. R-Truth.
Oh, like, serious. This is he's been talking this stupid R-Truth joke for the few times we tried to start recording, and he just had to do it on the recording. So now it's recorded forever.
It's permanent. It's
terrible.
It's going to be out there in the world.
You mispronounced the word. It was terrible.
Yowie wowie.
Okay. So
speaking of yowie wowie,
yeah, I am loving all these. This one
another
was
installment
specifically very creepy, and I thought was kind of pushing the limits a little bit. Because, like, as I'm watching it, and don't get me wrong, I don't get offended by this stuff, but I always worry about, the snowflakes out in the world that are going to get, like, really annoyed at the things that they're doing that are almost attitude error-ish. But, like, having all of the pictures of the kids, and the kids it's just getting darker and darker and darker, I'm thinking, gosh, somebody's going to complain about this. Somebody's going to be like, oh, this is disturbing. Why are you, using kids, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it almost seemed like they are just going to see how far they can go before they start getting the complaints. I feel like they're almost saying, all right, let's just keep pushing it and see how far we can get. Wait for the complaints to come, and then we'll pull it back a little bit.
But they don't need to. Yeah, wait for the complaints to come and keep going.
And then keep going. But WWE, they won't do that. They have a lot of sponsors that they have to keep happy.
People have already been complaining about it.
Yeah.
You know what they should say to the sponsors, though?
Rumors they were going to squash it, so.
What they should say to the sponsors is, hey, this is good writing, and we're going to get a lot more people watching, and then they'll be watching your ads. So shut the fuck up.
So we're doing pretty good. We still haven't gotten Bray Wyatt in the ring, which is what we all want, right? We all want it to take time. Don't rush this. This is going to be great if you just take time. But every week I get a little more nervous that, man, I hope they don't put him in the ring. I hope he doesn't have a match. Or if he does have a match, he has to come out and wrestle as Mr. Rogers. Like, he can't come out and wrestle as the creepy, version of himself. He needs to wrestle as the, playful Bray Wyatt from the Firefly Funhouse.
Have him come out in SummerSlam. Have him wrestle Finn Balor as Mr. Rogers. Start building that program. I want to see his creepy character versus the Demon, and not really know who's going to win. Is that taboo to even think about beating the Demon?
I don't know. We might not have the Demon undefeated after Saudi Arabia, because he's fighting Andrade, and Vince is pretty high on him, and rightfully so. Andrade's great. But I don't understand why we need the Demon in Saudi Arabia other than just a cheap ratings pop.
That's
No,
exactly what it
It,
is.
well, it's not a cheap ratings pop. It is Saudi Arabia pays them a lot of money for these events, and Saudi Arabia basically they're like, "What do you want?" And they're probably like, "Well, we want the demon." So you're gonna get the demon.
Do they know the demon? Because Saudi Arabia was asking for like Andre the Giant to be there last time. Like
Well, I
I
mean,
don't
maybe
know.
after a couple trips there, they've actually started to watch modern wrestling.
Yeah, their first request, the first time they went there for whatever the heck the first pay per view was, the Greatest Royal Rumble. Was that the first one,
Yeah,
or was it the Crown Jewel?
is the greatest Royal
Yeah.
Rumble.
So the first one they went there for, they requested Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, and the Ultimate Warrior were names that they were putting out there. They said Bret the Hitman Hart. I think they suggested too.
2 of which were dead.
Yes.
um,
So,
did
but
you
now
see
we
a
get the
50-man battle royal? Did you see that?
for what?
I've got no idea, but they've got a 50-man battle royal. I'm like, a battle royal? A 50-man battle royal? It's like, are they going to have like 2 rings? It's a
They're
lot of
gonna
people.
The 30, like 20, what do they usually do? 20 man battle royals are pretty full in the ring, right?
Yeah, how do you do a 50-man battle royal?
It's a lot of dancing.
Throw everybody over real fast.
So someone's gonna break the record of how many like eliminations, right? Is that what's gonna happen?
It'll be some type of a first in Saudi Arabia, probably, because they'll want to make Saudi Arabia feel special, because they do that.
Did any of you think that it was Braun Strowman's Greatest Royal Rumble belt that Mick Foley had in the bag because he was obviously not doing a very good job hiding the strap as he was holding it, and that you saw the green strap for a bit of a second? I was like, are they really going to bring back the Braun Strowman belt and call it something else?
I didn't think that, but even though I knew it wasn't going to happen, I this is another like little storyline me and you had talked about. I think he should have pulled that 24/7 belt out, looked at it, and like dropped it on the ground and be like, "That thing's garbage," and then gone to a garbage can and picked up the old hardcore like tattered belt out of a garbage can and be like, "Here you go. Here's the title."
That would have been a good spot.
Yep. Missed opportunity as usual.
I know. Gosh. Hey, WWE, when are you going to hire me as a writer? How about that?
When you stop talking to yourself.
Yeah, that's usually a problem.
You're unstable. They don't want you on their writing team. Guy just randomly starts talking to himself for an hour and a half about wrestling, and he keeps getting answers.
What was funny was when I was splicing the recordings together and I had to save it under a name, I called it Hurt Heel.
Like Big Baby Jimmy's Funhouse.
Yeah, I was feeling very brayish.
So, what about that weird ending to the United States title match, where I guess Samoa Joe broke his nose? I don't even know if it's confirmed or not. Steven, you're usually pretty good about finding this stuff out. Did he break his nose actually?
I've heard very little about Joe. There's been so much talk about Ray being hurt.
Yeah,
So-
Ray hurts himself like every single time he fights on a pay-per-view. He barely did
barely.
anything.
He got hurt after, right?
Apparently, he like tore his shoulder or something. He's gonna have to have surgery. They're gonna battle next week on Raw.
Well, he's going to give it back to him. They're actually going to do that angle probably, where he actually gives it back to him.
I think he should give it to his son. Do that angle.
Well, I know that there's been talk about one, his son wrestling, and two, Ray possibly giving his mask to him. But I don't know how they're going to work that in now with Ray basically injured again. Does Ray want to do it, just literally hand it to him, or does he want to actually like have a little bit of a feud with his son? Or
At this point, I don't know. I mean, Ray's in his 50s. I mean, he's gonna keep getting hurt.
still had a great match with Cesaro a few weeks back.
I mean, he can
That
still
was
go. I
still-
mean, look at the other people who are 50, like The Undertaker and Kane and stuff like that, and Goldberg. They can't do very much in their matches. They're very stiff.
Is there any other over 50 wrestlers that are good? How old is Truth?
I think Truth's 49. He's
You
almost
really
50.
think
He's
Truth's
getting up there.
49, or you're just saying that?
Our truth age.
Google that shit.
47 years
47.
old.
Trying to play the game at 49. But yeah, it's I don't know. I can't think of anybody else who's
Triple H is
older.
in his 40s. Batista's in his 40s.
Isn't Batista over 50?
Is he?
I thought Batista was over 50. I mean, he can't wrestle. He couldn't even get into the ring. He fell down getting into the ring.
You got a lot of these guys who are
Funny.
like actually in their 40s, you know what I mean? Samoa Joe's 40, AJ Styles is 41, Bobby Roode's 42. I'm sorry, Robert Roode, 42.
Get it right.
Batista is 50 this year.
See,
You're right.
50. Still can't wrestle. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of these bigger names are getting up there in age, and again, that's why it's kind of time for them to start letting these younger guys get their time in the ring.
Triple H is 49.
Jericho is 48.
He's probably
So-
the best at that age.
He's only 44.
Yeah.
God, I thought Ray was older than that.
Ray's 44.
Yeah.
Okay, he's just breaking down now because he's a
He's
little
been
guy getting beat
wrestling
up by big guys.
forever. He's been wrestling for so long too.
I think it said he's been wrestling since he was like 13.
So how many times have we had to watch Joe do the surprised face when he gets pinned? Like, I feel like it's been 4 or 5 like major matches now that Joe gets pinned and he does the "I can't believe that just happened" face.
Well, that one was at least accurate to his shoulder not being down.
His shoulder was never down.
What? That
Like,
was
it-
such
it-
a
like-
weird pay-per-view with that. The refs were
Yes.
there was so many awkward spots where wasn't there like Lacey Evans had Becky pinned, but they never actually counted, and it was a really awkward ending.
Well, they're doing this thing now where the refs are going above and beyond, like out of their way to like check the shoulders of the women, I think, because of the botch at WrestleMania, where that's like he shouldn't have started like counting until her shoulders were on the mat and stayed on the mat. So now they're like trying to be very careful about it to not screw those spots up, and it looks weird now because they're like diving around and putting their arm under their shoulder to make sure it's down. Yet in the men's match, you got Ray pinning Joe, and his back is not even on the ground, it looks like, and he's counting to 3.
Well, and then
So-
it was funny because you have Graves, on the mic, like literally counting to like 3 or 4 with Becky's shoulders being pinned.
Yeah, I don't know. Graves obviously plays off everything really. I mean, they need to pay him whatever they pay him. They should pay him more because he could take a terrible spot, a terrible promo, something that's just not working, and he'll find a way to like turn a phrase and just make it hilarious. He really does a good job, and he's honestly still the reason why as bad as Raw can be every week, or as SmackDown could be every week, it's still entertaining to just listen to Graves just rip on one of the other announcers, or just rip on one of the other wrestlers, or just go crazy over Mandy or Lacey or Bliss. Or none of them, but not Carmella though. Not the actual girl he's dating. All the other girls he goes crazy for though.
Going crazy for Mandy when she's facing Carmella. That was on SmackDown. Yeah. I mean, and that match got ruined by all the people trying to, take the title from Truth. So I don't know.
But you just said that was. I mean, you like that though, don't you? Like, how can it can't? It's not ruined if that's the interest you want to see in that belt.
I want that interest in the belt, but I don't know that I specifically liked it in that spot versus the rest of the show. Ruining a match that's already set in place when when it looks like you're trying to build a feud between Carmella and Mandy Rose, and then all of a sudden you just like interrupt the match and stop the story dead. I don't know that that's good. Yeah, I wouldn't. Why wouldn't you wait till the end of the match and the match is over and then they come out?
No, see, I'm going to disagree because this is a point where this belt needs to be awkward. It needs to be where it doesn't it doesn't fit anywhere specific. It's just constantly you never know when something's going to happen with that belt involved in it. And it doesn't matter how good or bad a storyline is going. This belt needs to just be out there and all of a sudden boom, a bunch of guys are, trying to get it, or you're not even paying attention to the belt and all of a sudden somebody comes flying through the curtain or flying from underneath the ring, or you turn to a camera chasing somebody in the back. It needs to be abrupt like that. That's what's going to make it entertaining, is because you never know what's going to happen. It'll be great for all these pee break matches, but it'll also be good for matches that people are really into, and all of a sudden you don't expect them to break into a match like that, and all of a sudden here comes 24/7 belt again.
It's kind of like when you're watching TV in the middle of the day at like 1 o'clock, and all of a sudden they cut to like a high speed chase in California of somebody in a truck like that. I agree with you, Chris. I think that's what it needs to.
I think that the only way that I would like to see it changed based on how we saw it, though, is I would like to see some people higher up the card occasionally jump in and just win the belt randomly, and then occasionally get it taken away from them.
But I think like if it'll be something stupid. You know how the writers are. It'll be like someone will be running around. They'll turn the corner. They'll run into Braun Strowman, and then Braun will just like put his foot on him and pin him, and he'll get the belt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I want to see
Yeah,
that.
he's one. He's one. It'd be good to see a guy like McIntyre carry it for a while and just be like, come get it. Like, come try and beat me. No one can beat me. McIntyre could be real cocky with it too. But it doesn't need to be that, it definitely needs to be more mid-card talent guys, and then every once in a while bring a main eventer in there just to make it interesting. Otherwise it's going to get kind of redundant, right? If it changes hands 300 times or whatever it might be. I think Raven still holds the record for how many times he held the hardcore title.
Yeah,
And it's some like obscure number.
you
It's
could
like
give
27 or something.
You could give it to Lars.
I was about to say the same thing.
Lars could take it and then go down to the middle of the ring during a show and just wait. Not even say anything, just sit in the ring and just wait, and have people just keep running out at him, and he just like destroys another person and destroys another person to try to help him get over even more.
I don't understand what they're doing with Lars Sullivan. I don't agree or get the whole Lucha House Party trying to triple team him. I just think there's other guys that, you could have plenty of other mid-card guys come out there and fight Lars Sullivan, and it still makes him look strong. Why do you have to have the 3 Lucha House Party guys do it? I don't know. They're small. Does anybody think Lars Sullivan's strong because he's beating up 3 cruiserweights? No, right?
Probably not.
No.
I don't know
He needs
that
to
it's
beat
not
up somebody
effect-
of some,
I don't
like
think
beat up Titus O'Neil. Like that okay, at least Titus O'Neil's a bigger guy, right? Beat up EC3. Beat up guys that are at least bigger guys. You're fighting 3 cruiserweights, and now I'm supposed to be afraid of you? You're intimidating the women announcers in the back? That's not a big scary heel. That's just a dickhead.
I've got 3 important questions. The first one is, where is Buddy Murphy? The second one is, where is Cedric Alexander? And the third one is, where is Fandango?
Okay, so Buddy Murphy is nowhere to be found. Cedric Alexander almost won the 24/7 title. And Fandango is dancing somewhere, probably. Maybe at Chuck's house or something. I don't know. Chuck, is Fandango there?
Hold on, let me check. That's a no.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy, apparently the only thing he's done since he announced he was coming to the main roster was he did a between matches commercial promo where he said, you're going to find out what the best kept secret is. And that's it. It wasn't aired. It was only for the live audience. That's all Buddy Murphy's done since he's been called up. And Cedric Alexander, I think he's only had, let's see, he had the one match that he lost against, was it Cesaro? Did Cesaro beat Cedric Alexander? Is that right?
Yes, that sounds correct.
And then he just now came out for the 24/7 title and did that one springboard from the ropes and did like a face-to-face trying to get the belt thing because nobody knew how to use their hands and pick up the belt. But to your point, what are they doing? Why are you not utilizing these guys? Like, look how well it worked with Aleister Black and Ricochet.
And Ali.
Like, look how well it worked when you throw these guys up there and wrestle. Andrade, too. Like, let these guys wrestle. They can wrestle. Put them in matches. Let them do their spots. People will go crazy for them. I don't understand it. They're just, like, they're doing nothing. Not even promos.
Is Fandango going to show up on NXT since Breeze is down there?
I think it makes all the sense in the world to let them tag up again down in NXT. I mean, you're about to lose the Viking Raiders for good. And right now, your tag teams are the Street Profits. Was it Lorcan and was it Burchin?
Yeah, something like that. Forgotten Sons as well.
Forgotten Sons and Undisputed Era. So you got 4 decent tag teams, but you would assume that adding a strong tag team like Breeze and Fandango, I mean, crap, why don't you add them to the next takeover? Because they're going to have to figure out who the tag titles are going to go to, right? So throw all those tag teams together and throw those guys in there as a surprise. I'm sure that would be outstanding for the crowd.
I would dig that. When is that? That's June 7th? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think so.
From Bridgeport, Connecticut.
June 1st. June 1st.
That's Chuck and I's old stomping ground up in Bridgeport. If we still there, we'd be probably first ones there to get tickets to go see TakeOver. I'm sure it's going to be a really good, because WWE loves to say that their hometown is Connecticut, right? Because of Stamford. Like, so I think they'll probably put on a over the top show for TakeOver, which I don't know how they're going to outdo any of their other takeovers because they're always like ridiculously good.
Creamy Kramer actually asked me if I wanted to go to that show because he was thinking about going, actually.
The answer is always yes.
Yes.
If you have any opportunity to go see an NXT takeover, I'm going to tell every listener right now, I'm going to tell you, Captain Chuckles, you always go. And you should know that from TakeOver Philadelphia. I mean, that was
epic,
incredible. Some of the matches we saw that night, and that wasn't even the best takeover. And that was like, there's been better takeovers, but that one to be live there, the crowd is insane. Takeover crowds are probably the best crowds around.
Yeah. Now we went to WrestleMania 25, was it, out in Chicago, right?
Yeah. Yep.
They're having NXT TakeOver out there in November, right before Thanksgiving, at the same, or right after Thanksgiving, I forget which one, at the same place at the Rose.
For Survivors, before Survivor Series?
Yeah. Yep. The night
That'd
before.
Be cool. Another cool place to go. Steven, you want to go? Steven doesn't like when we don't invite him to places.
Gotta go to that Houston Rumble. Right? That's the next one?
Yes, next Rumble will be in Houston. Yes.
That's the new thing. Go to Rumble every year. Boom. June 1st. Gosh. I'm going to be at a wedding that day. I'm going to have to figure out how to watch it that night. I hate missing takeovers.
Have they done a good enough job? Like, I mean, this is a dumb question, so I apologize ahead of time. Have they done a good enough job leading up into this takeover? Like, do you feel like the storylines have been built enough going into takeover?
Maybe not as good as other ones, no. But
because what are the matches right now? There's going to be the tag match. There's going to be Gargano and Cole 2. Is Velveteen having a match?
Yeah, against Tyler Breeze
at TakeOver.
For the North Carolina Championship.
North Carolina
Championship.
America, whatever it is. You know what I mean.
Hey, North Carolina's a very good wrestling state.
That's because Dojovic or whatever his name is got hurt. So they were starting a program, but yeah, that guy got hurt. That's why they threw Breeze in there.
They should easily have a good match.
Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler.
Riddle versus Roderick Strong too.
That could be a good match.
I bet you that'll be a great match. Riddle, I'm all in on Riddle. After what he did at the last takeover, I'm all in on him. And Roderick Strong's awesome. So those two should be able to put on a show. That could be the match that steals the night.
Should be the match that sells the night. If not, it'll be Velveteen and Breeze.
I'd say Cole and Gargano would be second. I love Velveteen. He's great. He's a great in-ring performer, but there's been some times where his matches, the Cassius Ono versus Velveteen match that we saw was kind of rough.
That was a while ago, though. He's gotten better since then.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying he's bad in any aspect, but if you put Gargano and Cole in front of Velveteen and anybody, I'm going to pick Gargano and Cole.
Maybe. They all three of them take really, really good bumps. And I love how much Velveteen... He's very vocal with selling pain. He's always screaming. Just always screeching in the ring. Ah!
He's over the top, yes.
It's wonderful.
No, for Chris is, he's over the top, yes.
Very monotoned. Oh, man. Well, it's about that time where and I'll start it a little bit early since we have Captain Chuckles here, where we go through everybody and we say the one storyline that we want them to fix or the one thing that we want to see. So let's start with Mr. Stephen Hill. What do you want to see, man?
Do something with Sammy already.
What, you don't like him?
I like the direction
into a
they're going
dumpster.
That I like his attitude, the character they're building him in to be, but push him somewhere. I think he'd be great with the 24/7 championship and just let him run and slime his way out of it. He could lose it at the beginning of the night, but find a way at the end of every night to walk out of the building with the belt again.
Chris.
All right, so I'm going to keep giving the tag team some love. I think we need to focus on the tag teams, and the best way to do that is get Daniel Bryan, which you gave the belt to, which I think makes all the sense in the world to legitimize the tag team titles. So let Chuck and Daniel Bryan get out there. I mean, Rowan and Daniel Bryan get out there and bring out the refurbished tag titles, perfectly earth-friendly tag titles that they replace the other tag titles with, and get them some promos, get them some airtime. There's plenty of good tag teams on the main roster that they can have some matches with. It doesn't always need to be the Usos. I mean, obviously the Usos have a win over them now, but give the tag team some love. Tag team wrestling is one of the major things that got me back into wrestling when I had stopped watching for a while. All those matches with the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, Benoit and Jericho, some of those great tag matches, were something that I got back into wrestling when I had been away for a while. So put some more emphasis on tag team, and I think Daniel Bryan and Rowan would be the right guys to do it behind.
I am going to go with this Dolph Ziggler stuff. I very much enjoyed seeing Dolph Ziggler again, and was doubly excited when he cut the promo at the top of the ramp, because even though it almost felt like that promo was kind of weak at the beginning, but towards the end when he was screaming and really getting into it, I'm like, man, I'm digging this promo. I'm digging Dolph Ziggler being back. I always have loved Dolph Ziggler, the heel. He's a great wrestler. So let's get some momentum off of this. Now, I actually think he's going to beat Kofi? Probably not. I think Kofi still has a little bit of his run. And I think after that KO match, I think Kofi earned a little bit of my love for a little bit longer, at least. But that being said, I'm down for Dolph. So I'm ready to see what WWE is going to do with him. I hope it's not just a one-off. So we'll see. Captain Chuckles.
Man, you guys all picked 3 good things. I'm gonna go with let's fix this Brock Lesnar thing. I mean, I hope he's not in longer. I mean, like I said, I used to love him, but they need to fix this and get him out, or at least get him to be trounced sometimes. You know, he doesn't always have to be the guy who always comes out on top, who comes in at the end. Like, let's actually give him something where like he actually has to maybe, I don't know, wrestle a little bit. Perhaps it's a funny thing to actually think about, but you know, I would want them to fix that whole thing, get him out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think collectively, probably all the fans want that to a certain degree.
Yes, all of us get rid of him.
In any clever way that you can. Well, that's all our time this week. Thank you, Captain Chuckles, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. After the 1, 2, 3 times we had to restart because my microphone doesn't want to work.
Okay.
As long as the actual thing recorded correctly this time, it's still better than last week.
If it's not just James talking, we're good.
Hey now, that hour and 34 minutes of talking to himself was, I mean, Emmy worthy.
Well, I do know for a fact there's probably maybe one thing I have to edit out of the podcast, a little bit of silence, but that shouldn't be too difficult. I think everything recorded fine this time. So I'm just glad that I'm not talking to myself anymore. And I can't hear Chris. It looks like Chris is trying to talk. There you go. He's just he's just trolling me.
I'm just trying to mess with you.
He's just trolling me.
I think Chris just said SOS. SOS.
Oh man. Well,
Gotcha.
You know what? On that note, it's been a wonderful night talking wrestling. Thanks for listening. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you liked it, like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it. Please comment. Anything at all. You can you can throw some shade at Big Baby Jimmy. I'll chirp right back at you. I'm not afraid to argue about anything. So, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.